We're back live. I'm here with Heidi Rain. Now, Heidi is the love coach. She's known for a lot of different strategies she's used to help entrepreneurs become successful, not just in their business, but also in their lives as a whole. It doesn't count if you make all that money. At the end of the day, you're not happy. So welcome, Heidi, back to this amazing podcast slash show slash my internet channels. You're talking about a very powerful topic at the 100 Millionaire Summit. And the reason we brought you back again last year was not just because everybody loved your talk. It was because it moved people forward. It's because right now entrepreneurs are facing some really difficult times, and we want to make sure that they have the way of the warrior built into them. And that happens to be the name of your talk. So Heidi, welcome back.
Well, hello. Thank you. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. The buzz around the event that's coming up in less than a few days. I mean, at the end of the week is just, everybody is super excited. I know, like I'm packing now. I'm so excited to come. And there's so many benefits to being there. Obviously, for most of us who come there, it's about being in the room. It's about the connections, the relationships that you build. And as a relationship person, I see the value in that. I have made incredible friendships in that room. I've made clients in that room. We've made deals with people in that room. We've made a lot of money with people in that room. So it really doesn't get better than that. And so if anybody's curious, especially now when we think about this recession-proof, how do you recession-proof your life? I mean, how do you set yourself up for success? And for Doug and I, we can work our butts off, but ultimately anything we've ever done has always been to pour back into real estate. That is our wealth building strategy. And it's really funny, Walter, because I would be the last person to attend a real estate conference. Okay. Because I just it wasn't even on my radar. But I remember when we moved to Florida. And we were driving. Now, I came from the backwoods of West Virginia. I had a real poverty consciousness. I did not see money growing up at all. I grew up poor. In fact, I had a large portion of my life was spent on welfare, eating soup for weeks on end. I had a rough existence for a while monetarily and otherwise, but I would look at people and I go, how the hell do they make money? And I thought, well, you must be a lawyer or a doctor. And I remember when I moved to Florida and I was driving down A1A and I was looking at all these mansions, these multi-million-dollar mansions on the beach. And I was thinking, well, they can't all be doctors. I mean, like, what are they doing? And that's when we got our first introduction into real estate and really understanding that, any money that we do have, we want to secure our future. We want to leave a legacy for our daughter. And one of the ways we're able to do the work we do in the world without attaching to an outcome with the coaching and the business is because we know we have a concrete strategy over here with the real estate, and this is going to ebb and flow and do what it does. But the principles that we learn at this conference are recession-proof principles. And that's really what my talk is going to be about. It's going to be principles over pop culture. I'm not going to be teaching you the most popular things to do. I'm going to be teaching you the time-tested things that every entrepreneur needs to know so that they are going to be successful no matter what the hell's going on around you. And that is the way of the warrior entrepreneur. And I just could not be more excited to share that.
So I want to talk a little bit about why it's important to think like a warrior. I did a quote the other day from Sun Tzu, right? So he wrote the Art of War. And I think that people love the quote, but they don't understand, like, this is a
What's the one you posted? What's the one you posted?
This was when you make your plans as impenetrable as the night, and when you move, fall like a thunderbolt. And that the idea behind it was you've got to make sure that nothing can penetrate your plan. It must be a solid, workable plan, even if it takes a little bit of time, behind the scenes, putting things in place. And you don't have to do everything out in public. But when you do move, you have to do it in a big way so that the enemy is shocked. And sometimes the enemy is our own subconscious mind. Sometimes the enemy is the marketplace. Sometimes the enemy is just making sure that the people on your team are like in one fell swoop, like, oh my God, yes, we got to go move in this direction. And if you don't operate like a warrior in business, you're going to miss some of the really powerful principles. The reason a war book, a principle on war book, became so popular in business because everything correlates to the defense or an attack in your business. And like becoming a powerful warrior is one of the first steps that it takes to become a great general. So Heidi, what are some of the things that you think people are going to get out of, we don't have time to go into the details of like how to become a warrior, but what do you think some of the benefits and results somebody coming to this event is going to get from your talk alone? Not just like all the money stuff and all the real estate stuff, but the ability to move as a warrior.
Well, I think that I posted today a picture, of myself outside, and I hate the selfie thing, but really I did it because I wanted to get a point across that I wanted to talk about the way of a warrior. And the mightiest warrior is the one who conquers herself. So we think, oh, look, I'm going to, master the game and other people, and I'm going to learn to, manipulate situations. But the reality is you are your own biggest obstacle, and every warrior has to first develop that mindset and understand the war that's inside. The internal war that we struggle with is really the war that we need to conquer. And then along with that, one of Shiheng Yi, which is one of my mentors, I have this year-long mentorship with him, and get to have these live sessions, and it's absolutely amazing. And he quoted this, The Art of War, saying, to know your opponent and to know yourself is the only way to ensure an outcome. And we think of opponent as this kind of enemy that we can all see, like the boogeyman. Well, I know it's this unruly person, it's this person over here who's not listening, but the opponent could be just things that you don't understand. Anything that you don't understand becomes an opponent. And so if we can fully understand how things work that are outside of our control and learn to work with those things, then we really become the way of the warrior. And I'm going to reveal in that talk what's in your control as a warrior and what's out of your control, and how to work together in this seamless way. I'm going to talk a lot about what gets us stuck, these unconscious things that we don't think about on a normal basis, why it doesn't really have to be that hard. A warrior doesn't seek the path of difficulty. If you watch a warrior work, they're always going to take the path of least resistance. They're always going to find a way that's the least amount of effort for the most amount of return and reward. And that's really what you've been in the business of doing for forever, which is like, massive passive income. Like, I don't want to work that hard, I don't want to, but our culture doesn't wrap their head around that. We're still really attached to thinking that, we have to struggle. And if you're struggling too much, that's an indicator that we need to take a step back and look and see, is this in alignment with who I am called to be? A warrior, we talked about this a little while ago, Walter, is, for my definition of an entrepreneur warrior entrepreneur is where skill and will aligns with your personal destiny. And so we're going to talk about those three things. What does that look like with legs on? How do I walk with my skill in the world? What is my will? Do I have control over that? What are the parameters? And then what is my personal destiny? How do I know if I'm on the right track in my personal destiny? When it's too hard, when should I walk? Is that a sign? Is that my intuition telling me? When should I keep pushing? All these questions that we want to know, because when those three things align, your skill, will, and your personal destiny, it's the easiest thing in the world. Success is a byproduct. Success comes naturally. Millionaire isn't a destination. It's a no-brainer. It's a byproduct of living a life that's totally aligned.
It's 100%
and so
true,
that's
right?
kind of what we're going to talk about, is how to live in that alignment, embody your truest nature, unlock and unleash your absolute fullest potential. And it's really just not about finances. It's about fulfillment at the end of the day. And we're going to talk a lot about that as well, is like, how do we really live a life that's rich and wealthy in all ways?
I love it because, we talk about it often just in the house and, in Alchemist Nation all the time, is like, hey, like I can make money a lot of different ways, but doing what we do here with the community is like fulfilling. I go to sleep, right. I know I got points. Like it's a lot easier just to go buy a bunch of real estate to make, money, but to do it through the technology that moves people forward, to do it through, supporting other coaches and putting people in front of coaches that like can actually move them forward, not just like gurus who are like, hey, come, click on the link below and I'm gonna make you a millionaire. It's like, you got to actually have a systemic approach of, this coach is going to teach you how to toughen up your mindset and move forward and actually do the things. Because really, at the end of the day, it's not about the technique. It's about, when you show up, you do the right things. And like, even if it is hard, and that romance around hard work, like this is the problem I have with every guru out there, that you just kind of, you squash it in one sentence. Like every guru out there is like, you got to work hard, you got to work hard, you got to work hard. And it's like, whoa, hold on. Like, you've got to be willing to work hard, but you've got to be smart enough to work correctly. You've got to be able to, like the samurai puts the sword in the path of least resistance so that they can make the most impact when there is contact.
That's exactly it. When I am, I'm about precision over just straight up perspiration. I mean, you could be toiling away and sweating and doing it the wrong way. And that's a tremendous amount of hard work. And there are people who say, I'm the hardest worker in the room, but that doesn't mean you have the most results. That doesn't mean automatically that you're getting the best results, because I'm a fan of the smarter, not necessarily harder. And I'm not going to get all like woo woo on you, but a long time, the Force understands this, right? If we watch Star Wars, we understand the Force of this path of least resistance. And Yoda's like, it's not that hard. You're trying too hard. You know what I mean? Like, this force that's from within is really the warrior that we're cultivating, this energy within, this chi, right? This energy of how to live in alignment so that it isn't difficult. Like, Jesus wasn't like, out of breath and toiling when he was like just touching somebody. Like, here you go. Jesus like, here you. It didn't look that difficult because he was juiced up. He had like the Jedi is not like, damn it. With the sword, it's like zing. Because it's about precision. It's about accuracy. It's knowing how to wield the weapon if you have to. And the weapons are, your mindset is your biggest weapon against defeat. And so a lot of the times, if that's why it's so important to have a mentor, because there are shortcuts, and you can have somebody that can show you that along the way to say, hey man, it doesn't have to be that hard. It really doesn't have to be that hard. But our society has, the Force is like this universal concept of chi, which is masculine and feminine energy. These two energies that balance out the entire universe. It's not about a man. It's not about a woman. It's like too big of a conversation to box it in a gender. Please don't. But people can't help themselves. But we've lost the feminine power. We've lost that way. And so the patriarchal masculinization is like, work, step up. And there's ease and flow. And this middle way of aligning these two energies is knowing when to get fire and burn it down and when to be like water and let it flow. And there's beautiful mastery in all of this. And these are kind of the timeless principles of the universe that a warrior understands. You're not working against the world you're living in, you're working with the world you're living in. And that doesn't matter what is going on. You expect things. It's like, to be expected, of course. Yes, a recession, to be expected. And here's how I flow, and here's how I move. And those are the principles that when you work and you develop, you perspire a little bit, but then the rest of your life is easy because you have a concrete foundation. You're not following a trend. You're not looking and getting swept away by everything that comes along like a dinghy on the ocean. You're in a ship, man, and you're weathering all the storms because you know how to do that. And that's what a warrior does. They don't fret. They're not anxious. They're not full of worry or regret or any of those things. They live in the present moment. They make decisions from a rooted place. They know how to root down into their intuition and follow their inner wisdom. And they know where that's located and how to hear it. And that's really what we want to cultivate in our warriors. And again, Walter, to your point, it's not about making money at the end of the day. For people like me and you that are out here day in and day out, it's about liberation. It's about finding a path to freedom. For me, it's finding emotional freedom and intellectual freedom and spiritual freedom. And for you, it's financial freedom, to be able to find this freedom so that we're not a prisoner. We're not a slave to other people. We have control and agency over our own lives. And for me, that's the ultimate outcome. I'm a liberator in my heart. I know so are you. You fight for the underdog. It's like you and I grew up poor. We're like, nope, no more. Nobody else has to either. Here's how, so that we're on a mission. And that's why everything we do is about a mission, and join the mission and an Alchemist Nation and being a part of all of that. So I'm proud to be a part of it.
And it's an unstoppable force because it's bigger than us. It's not just us out there. Like, I think every person who's ever suffered not having money or not having the right spouse or not having even just time to go do the things that they want to do, like on some level, they're like, you know what, if I figure this out, I'm going to pay it forward to somebody else. I think that like, it's not that we're special. It's just that we've said, okay, like there's a calling out there. We're going to say yes to it. And we're going to show up no matter how hard it gets, no matter what I have to become, what after I learn.
Don't sell yourself short. You are special, because most of the world's not like that. Okay. Most of the world is egocentric, focus on themselves. What can I get out of this? How am I going to protect my space? There are very few people in the world that are truly dedicated and mean it to the liberation of other people. You've got to find the real ones. And when you find the real one, you got to dig a well and go deep and stay in that relationship long enough to get the benefit and the payoff of that relationship for you, so you can go pour into another human being. At the end of the day, it's a rare thing to find a true, authentic person that means what they say, especially in today's day and age. And so when you find the real one, you gotta hold tight. Hold tight.
So true. It's about deep relationships. We're talking about proximity. We're getting you in the room with a whole bunch of millionaires, people who have the abundance mindset, who've done the mindset work for themselves, like alchemy. They've forged in the fires. They've been through the pain. That now they've moved themselves out from a pain and competitive nature into a place of abundance and bliss. And now they're coming forward and they're teaching you the process over 3 days. 80-20 rule, right? 80-20 of 365. 80-20 of that, 80-20 of that, 80-20 of that. It brings you down to 1%. 1% is 3 days of 365 days in the year. We're going to, that period, we're going to have the most concentrated, impactful days for you. Then you're going to set the plan to attack the rest of the 362 days left in the year. In fact, you might even have 1 day of travel and relaxation before you go and have to hit the ground running. So you're going to do 361 days of hard work.
One integration day.
That's right. A meditation day.
Integration, like let it sink in.
And I want to say for everybody who's coming, like, just so you understand, like, I had to go and change, just like how you just mentioned, I had to change myself from just being all about this alpha male, like I got to grind, push hard. And I had to kind of untap into, and I'm not going to say the feminine side, but at the time, that's what I believed it was. And I had to tap into this, trust other people, like community. Leverage relationships, That's right. Communicate with others, be able to trust myself enough to be able to go step myself into dangerous places or, high risk maneuvers that helped build the business and help build the community that we have. And Alchemist Nation is about not just you and like what your success will be. It's about what success others might have because of you just being yourself, being a higher level version of you, going through the process of alchemy and becoming somebody who can actually pay it forward. There's going to be over 200 people. I think it's 240 people registered. There's there's 300 tickets sold. So we don't know how many people will actually show up, but I know for sure 240 people have said, yes, I'm coming, flights booked, hotel booked. So if you haven't made the decision yet, now's the time to get off the fence. And if you have already made the decision, I'm sending you blessings, safe travels. Make sure that you're smiling, hugging, loving people before you leave. You may come back a different person. They may not recognize you. Ask them for forgiveness later. Right now is the time to just tell them you love them. You're going on a little vacation. A lot of them are going to believe you're going on vacation, right? Because they just know you're flying to Florida. They don't have to know the transformation that is happening. They will see it in your actions. They will see it in how you act and how you operate.
Absolutely. Like a warrior goes up in the cave. They're not bragging from the cave what they're doing. You know what I mean? They go in the cave, they learn the things, they come out and they show. They don't tell. You know what I mean? They demonstrate. They live it.
So Heidi, before we head out of here, before we all show up 4 days from now in Orlando to start forging warriors and building these entrepreneurs into that next version of themselves, what piece of advice would you give somebody who's sitting at home right now watching this and either is coming to the summit or they just haven't made the decision? What piece of advice would you give them from the bottom of your heart?
Well, it's two different advice. So if you're coming, amen, right? Hallelujah. Just start thinking about setting your intention. You want to walk in there with an expectation of something you need to know, learn, understand, or see. And the expectation should be an internal one, something you have control over, that I need the ears to hear, the eyes to see, the heart to feel, whatever it is that you need to move you into the next phase of your life, whatever that season is for you. And if you're on the fence, know this, there's a big difference between your intuition and your inner saboteur. And it's hard to tell the difference sometimes because your intuition might be saying, well, yeah, I feel like I could go to that, or I want to go to that. And there's resonance there. Maybe your hair stands up, you hear something, you're like, I want to be part of that. That sounds really good. Well, all of a sudden that feeling will travel up to your head where confusion sets in. And confusion says, can I afford that? Do I really want to do that? Is now a good time to do that? Oh, I don't know. What's the drive like? Is there a hotel? It starts doing all these things. Well, automatically that's your inner saboteur, because your inner saboteur wants to keep you safe. It doesn't want you to put yourself out there too much, or it's worried for you, right? So its job is to worry. So if it sounds like worry, that's a saboteur. That'll all be figured out. If you take the leap and you trust your intuition and you start to learn how to trust yourself in making decisions that support the who you're becoming, not the who you're currently being, okay? And that you make decisions from who you are becoming and act as that person, not the person you are today. How does a millionaire act? Is it a no-brainer to go be around cool people and do cool stuff for 4 days and learn some new stuff? Yes, especially if like you're giving it away, Walter, which you are. Okay, so like, let's go. So, don't let yourself hold you back. Like that's warrior training 101. He or she who learns to master their own inner critic and themselves is the mightiest warrior of them all. And you can start today. You can start now with mastering that inner critic. I'd love to see you there. I'd love to give you a big hug. I'd love to sit down with you and talk with you about what this community can do with and for you. And I'd love just to lay eyes on you and be a part of your life and be a person on your path, on your journey. So hopefully we'll see you there.
I couldn't have said it better. Thank you so much, Heidi. I can't wait to hang with you again for the next, we actually get a little extra time. So the next 5 days, it's just beautiful to be able to hear like what you're doing for this community, what you're doing for everybody who's come to you and worked with you over the last few years. I've been watching your YouTube channel. I've been seeing like the message just get super viral almost, like where people are just like, oh my God, like this resonates. So like your mission has been expanding on like technology, right? Social media, like this thing that we didn't have a few years ago, and you've just been diving into and really serving at a high level. So thank you so much. I can't wait to hang. For everybody who is coming, there is plenty of room at the top. We will see you at the summit. Cheers to your success. We have a choice. Always work with the best. See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Heidi.